So we have some more updates of what's going on with Hell Let Loose and with Team 17 taking over what they're actually going to be doing with the game. And first off, Hell Let Loose is sort of being rebranded. It's still called Hell Let Loose, don't worry about that. But it's really the font and the logo is going to change. So I'll put those on screen for you now. And I kind of like this, really. I mean, it does have a bit more of a kind of like a war-themed font, I guess. And the logo, I mean, I do like it. It's like the H with the bullet going through it. I like that compared to the original, which was, I think, just like the 3 lines that were different lengths. But I like this change. I think a lot of the war correspondents like this as well. Let me know what you guys think about this sort of rebrand below. One negative, I think it's a negative for me, is that the price of the game is going to change shortly after Update 14 releases. And it's going to increase by, they've said, like 5 units based on your currency. So for Americans, it's going to go up by $5. For us in the UK, £5, and Europe, €5, and so on for your local currency. So at the moment, it's £35. So that means it will go up to £40, or really $39.99. And I'm not really sure how I think about it. I can understand Team 17 sort of coming out and saying there's a lot more content in it from when the game launched out of early access, which they will use as like a justification to increase the price since there's just more content in the game now. But I don't think really any other game sort of does this. Some games do increase their prices later down the line out of early access, and they're potentially doing it because Hell Let Loose 2 is not going to be coming soon. Since they're going to be doing this 1-year plan for each 1 year of the war, we've got another, 5 years after this year of Hell Let Loose content. So they're going to need to make some money back for that. And yes, there's going to be premium DLC cosmetics that'll be coming out. But really, the big money maker is the actual game itself. And as they put more and more content into it, that should attract more people into the game. And hopefully, they don't keep increasing the price as they go further and further through development. But if you compare this game to other AAA games, it'll be increasing to £40 or say. Other AAA games will launch at £60 or £70. So it's still like a really good deal compared to games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. It's got a lot of content for it, so I can sort of see the justification there, but I'd prefer it if they didn't increase the price. And let's talk about some of the bugs that are in the game. The loadout and grenade bugs, they have not been fixed for Update 14. They're struggling to consistently reproduce the bug, and in-game, you'll probably notice you won't get the loadout bug often. I haven't had it in a long time. The grenade bug doesn't always happen, and they need to be able to replicate it consistently to find out what's causing this to happen. So if it happens to you in-game, I would recommend going into the Hell Let Loose Discord, giving them the information of what you did which led to the bug happening. And while that may sound strange, it's more like, what weapon did you change from to your grenade, and were you standing or proning or in the middle of some sort of motion and then trying to throw the grenade? Something like that. Just try and get some detail across to them so they can keep trying to reproduce it, because it will just lead to the bug getting fixed. Same with the loadout bug. Just let them know like what happened before the bug affected you. Were you stuck on the spawn screen for a long time? Did you try to spawn at a garrison that turned red and you had to choose somewhere else? Just anything like that can help them. And thankfully, the reload bug for the bolt action rifles, that is 100% fixed for the update. Also, Update 14 is going to feature a bunch of performance improvements across a bunch of maps. They haven't said specifically what, but when we get the patch notes for Update 14, it will say in there. Really, this is going to be a lot of LOD fixes, and that's pretty much the potato buildings you'll see in the background, and a bunch of other like graphical stuff they're improving and optimizing. So performance should increase across the board. There was a vote for a map refresh, which was pretty much they gave you a list of maps to vote from. Whichever map won, they would look at that map and try to, give it a fresh coat of paint and have a look at it. And what won was Purple Heart Lane, and a lot of people don't like Purple Heart Lane. I'm not a big fan of it myself. So they're going to go over it and see how they can improve it. The thing is, they still need to sort of keep to like the historical accuracy of the map, which I think is pretty accurate now, so they can't change it too much. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Purple Heart Lane. And quickly, the last few things for the bugs is there's a crashing issue when joining a Team 17 friend on console. That's still going to be an ongoing bug. If you get it, there's a bunch of information they want you to provide to them. There is a form which is on the dev brief, and pretty much they want the time of your crash, including your time zone, what platform you're using, PlayStation or Xbox, the number of friends in your Team 17 list, and your username or gamer tag. It's going to help them identify the issue. The Battle Scar DLC is going to be coming for the Spotter and Sniper. The reload audio issues are going to be fixed. That's mainly like the M1 Garand reload audio not being quite synced up. The lighting in the barracks, that's pretty much like the main menu, is going to be increased so you can actually see your guys better. Tank shell penetration, that issue is still being investigated. There's an issue where pistols can float on the main menu, but that's still being looked at. And there's an issue with the German support players using the flamethrower. With a certain DLC, we'll see the flamethrower clip through a certain radio box. That's being fixed in update 14. But onto some juicy stuff. And first, the non-verbal communication tools. Devs never really said what these 100% were, and what it is a new radial menu. So when you're a squad leader or commander, you can bring up a radial menu to put down markers for your team to show you've spotted a tank, or you want a garrison built there, or supplies, or whatever. And non-squad leader players and non-commanders are going to get this radial menu, and other players will use this to pretty much request ammo, healing, supplies. There's responses to say like, yes, thank you, good job. Other things to say what you're doing, like you're going to be attacking or defending, or you're observing somewhere. And for people that don't use the microphones, or some people that can't use microphones, this is good. And these markers and stuff are only going to appear for the people in your squad. And if you say request ammo, you will have a little marker above your head to say you need ammo. While some people won't want this sort of stuff in the game because it's not like historically accurate to have floating markers and all that sort of stuff, I think it's fine really. And if it helps people get into the game and play it a little bit easier, it's a good thing really. And with this, you're also going to be able to ping like certain objects in the game. And this will be stuff like ammo boxes and supplies. You'll be able to look at it, and if you're within 5 meters of the item, press your ping button and a little icon will appear above that box. And I think that marker will appear for your whole team and not just your squad. Update 14 is also going to see some improvements to the XP screen, so you're going to be able to see how you actually got all your XP instead of just seeing like a number for offense or whatever. And I think that's good for people that don't really jump into combat roles, so they can actually see what gave them their XP. And I think for people that play engineer, it's going to show that they're going to get a lot of XP from just building stuff. Something that got a lot of people talking about in the roadmap was the improvements to player locomotion, where people thinking this was going to turn the game into like Call of Duty or drastically increasing the player speed. They go into some improvements here. One is they're introducing dive to prone. Now this isn't going to be like a dolphin dive from like Battlefield or Call of Duty. This is pretty much you'll be sprinting along. If you hold down your prone button, you will then go prone. I don't see this as like an issue at all. So if you look at the little GIFs they've put here on the dev brief of what it looks like in third person, or watching someone doing it, and what it looks like from first person, it's also a little sneak peek at El Alamein and the Lee Enfield rifle. But it looks fine. I don't see any issue with this at all. If you're out sprinting, you could dive down to the ground, so there's no issues there. One big improvement is what they're calling step height improvements. And pretty much what this is if you've noticed when running around, it's usually like the foresty maps really, or even Stalingrad, places that have a lot of bits of cover and rocks and trees and tree stumps and stuff like that. You'll get caught on those small objects a hell of a lot, meaning you'll have to awkwardly jump over it or vault over like a tree stump or a tiny rock. But now what that will mean with these height improvements is you'll just be able to run over them, and that's just really good. It's going to make movement just more fluid, and that's, well, just good. They have said that sprinting and running in both crouch and standing have been adjusted to feel more natural and realistic, but they haven't expanded on that at all. So really we could see some slight speed changes for these. I don't know. We'll have to wait to update 14 and then we can have a look and sort of review it. And it looks like we've got a bunch of new animations when using rifles as well. I think these will be when looking at people, so you won't really notice it from first person. but it'll just hopefully make these look better. They're also updating the field manual to add in dive to prone, or engine damages and defensive building, and they're putting in little GIFs to each of the sections you can look at in their field manual. They said this is their first iteration of video tutorials. I hope this isn't just what their tutorials are going to be, just little GIFs in the in the field manual. They need to have something a little bit more in depth, so hopefully it's just not these little GIFs. And then lastly, we're getting this free DLC little goofy Jericho cap. While it looks kind of unique, I don't think I'll ever use it just because of how like high or tall it is. It's just gonna sort of give away your position a little bit more to have this little, almost like little triangle bopping along when you're running along a wall or something. I mean, it looks kind of cool, I guess, but it's a little bit goofy. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever use that. And then we're getting a cavalry coat DLC for the Saviors, and I don't think this is free DLC. They haven't specifically said that it is, but they've said alongside the free DLC, so it might be, I don't know, but it's this like thick sort of winter coat for the Saviors, which looks alright. So when update 14 drops, I'm going to be streaming from the get-go, or probably streaming from just before the update launches, to be honest. I might even stream today, today being the 19th of May. It just depends what happens, in real life first. And I'll be doing a bunch of streams from update 14 launch for probably the whole week. That's going from the 25th to the end of the week after that. I'll get in a bunch of time into the game. Hopefully get a bunch of content for videos out as well, but a few more streams like during the day and maybe during the evening as well. So if you want to check out some streams, and I'll be playing with people from chat, just don't be a knobhead when you join my squad. That's all I ask. So let me know what you think about this news down below. Give the video a like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.